Because when you look in Israel, a generation was raised up who did not know the Lord. And whose fault was that? The previous generation. Yeah, you guys might not be playing video games, but a lot of you have wasted so much of your time doing the stupidest, silliest things of which men are beyond that. No, brothers, I'm telling you, it was a great thing for me to learn that my life, that I should go to the casket poured out. That life is supposed to be difficult. That self-sacrifice hurts. That it's not about me. You say, oh, it's about Christ. Be careful of a theology of glory. It is about Christ. But if it goes no further than that, the words you've said are nothing more than a meme. It's all about my wife. It's all about my children. Then it's all about my church. And then it's all about the elect people of God who have yet to hear the gospel of their salvation. That's what it's all about. That's what it's really all about. I know professional men in this church, and I know professional men in other places around the world that are extremely professional, extremely busy, and they witness to more people in 1 week than I do in 6 months. Through their professions, through their things, they have Bible studies, they encourage, maybe they don't do that, maybe they don't have the gift of teaching, but you go to their home and you see their children and their wives. They're not about gaining something in this world. They're just using the gifts that they have in order to serve in those concentric circles of concern. Now, what do I mean by that? This is the way I've ordered my life. It was based on a book on evangelism that was written about 40 years ago by a very godly man, Concentric Circles of Concern. But I took it and changed it up a little bit. In the middle of that circle is me. You say, well, that doesn't sound very Christian. Well, it is. And what am I saying when I say the middle of that circle is me? The greatest thing I can do for everyone else on this planet is to be a better Paul washer. And what does that mean? To seek to be more conformed to the image of Christ. If I do not start with me in the Word and renewing my mind, nothing else works. Nothing else works. So first of all, as men, what do we do to combat this? What do we do? First of all, our great goal should be to be conformed to the image of Christ in character. Isn't it amazing that the qualifications for an elder are almost exclusively character? What you have to understand is in that list in Titus 1 and 1 Timothy 3, what he's basically saying is this: an elder needs to be a mature Christian, and this is what a mature Christian looks like. A husband needs to be a mature Christian, and this is what a mature Christian looks like. Character, to grow in conformity to Christ, which starts by cultivating the mind of Christ in the Word of God and then growing. And so that's the first concentration you should be thinking of. I need to be a clean tool, a useful tool, an accurate tool. And then from there, what is our greatest concern? Your wife. Your wife. Her godliness, her sanctification, her prosperity as a person, your wife. What about me? Okay, you die. That's your job. You say, well, I don't like that. Then don't walk around pounding your chest like a gorilla and saying you're a man. Because a man is someone who dies to self for his bride. Because Jesus was not a man, he was the man. And we follow him. And then you give your life to your children. Well, I thought children were first. Now there's your problem. Greatest thing you can do for your children, men, is to love their mom. And do you know why so many women hate their daughter-in-laws? Because it's your fault. Yeah, sin has many consequences. So as a husband, you neglect your wife. You neglect affection, intimacy, growing as friends. You neglect all these things. And so your wife, she needs that. She needs that. She's a faithful woman. She's not going to commit adultery. But now you forced her to find it somewhere else, and she finds it in her children. And her children start supplying for her all the affection that she's not getting from her husband. And then when other people come along to take her children away, she can't stand it. And that's your fault. That's my fault. You see, obedience and God's commands. I can remember looking at a certain thing in Hebrews 10, taking Hebrews 10 and then seeing how it seemed like the entire Bible was interwoven into that chapter. It was just unbelievable. And you've got to see that in every aspect of our life, everything is interwoven. And if there's a thread that breaks loose here, everything else starts to come undone. And so that concentric circle of concern, it is to give myself to my wife, then to give myself to my children, and then to give myself to the people of God.